Time to rewind and open your mind. No late fees to annoy you this time. Video store might be no more, but we're digging up movies worth watching them for. Welcome to Video Store Graveyard, where we dig up movies worth watching or make sure they stay buried where they belong. As always, I'm Dano.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Tex.
And today is the beginning of a month-long holiday celebration, whether it's your Christmas or your Hanukkah or your Kwanzaa or the true pagan tradition of Yule, which all of them derive from, well, whatever you want to believe. It's Christmas time, though, and there's lots of Christmas horror movies.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Hashtag Die Hard's Christmas movie.
Yeah. So we're all kind of been looking over the different ones that we wanted to talk about, and this first run, Tex, this was your idea. Had you seen Jack Frost before?
I had not, and technically this was kind of Andrew's, although we both talked about it, and we were just kind of like the way you and I talked, like all three of us like talked at separate occasions, and Jack Frost ended up. No, I have not. I had not seen it. I had refused to see it. One, because I used to until I guess this year. I didn't really like horror movies during the holidays. One, two, I didn't really care for Christmas horror movies. So horror movies during the holidays and Christmas horror movies in particular, I was very close-minded to. But now that I know you guys and you all have opened my mind up to many more different things, I decided to go ahead and go with this particular one. And so I'm actually, even though the movie wasn't like the best thing in the world, I did have a little bit of fun watching it and was pleasantly surprised at some things.
I like how you talk about how you used to kind of not get into that holiday horror movies. You'd have old self would have a whole lot in common with the Parent Television Council and all those Baptist ladies that used to stand out with their signs in front of Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Baptist ladies, really?
I know. Sorry, I didn't realize how much you had in common with Baptist ladies. Anyway, no, but I'm glad that we went with this one. And we were talking a little bit before we started. I had thought about pranking y'all, but y'all are all very well aware. I should have known Andrew would be, being the film historian that he is.
Thank you, sir.
About a little debacle that happened with this. Two movies called Jack Frost came out about the same time. Go ahead. Tell us a little bit about that.
So the first one, Jack Frost, that we are talking about today on the podcast, came out in 1997. Now, ironically, or maybe not, the next year, the Michael Keaton Jack Frost came out the next year, and what proceeded to happen was a lot of video stores getting a lot of angry parents saying, "What the hell did you make me buy and rent?" and all this stuff, because they thought they were going to get a nice little family film with Michael Keaton and, bonding with his son. Instead, they got a murderer killing people as a snowman.
Michael Keaton's Jack Frost should have named themselves a different movie, since the horror movie Jack Frost got it first, especially since apparently this movie was in the making like several years before it actually was released.
Yeah, and I think maybe they knew about. I don't know whether there was just not an awareness, or whether they're like, no, we're a real Christmas movie, not that garbage that they're trying to sling, that's bloody guts, slaughter stuff, that crap they're feeding into our kids' minds. And it also didn't help that they had the same title, and they both had a snowman on the front. And in the old video store days, a lot of times the VHS copy of the movie, it was just placed behind the box. So you'd have several copies maybe of the same movie all behind one box, and no cover art on the tape because it's just in that plastic case.
Correct.
And so you'd have people working in video stores like I used to. We had this incident happen with us. you're putting movies up, and you've got a lot of them put up. You see a movie called Jack Frost, you find a box that's Jack Frost, you put the tape behind it. Bam, done. Until someone brings it in a little bit later and like, my kids were watching this, whatever. And that only happened one time. Actually, the funny thing is, I think it was the opposite, though. It was somebody that had rented the horror version. I think this would be equally upsetting. And they got home, and it's the heartwarming Michael Keaton version. And they're trying.
That would be awesome.
It's like, what the hell is this crap? So, yeah, I just wanted us to touch on that a little bit, how it was a humorous mix-up during the time.
I think they also got off on it because they were like, oh, well, everybody's talking smack about that old movie, and they like our movie now even better.
Right. So,
all right, who wants to go first with criticisms?
I'll go first, and I'll have a little story about how I found this movie, because I have watched this movie before you guys, or I'm assuming Dano has watched this movie at least.
I watch this every year for the last 13 years, and I watched it before that a few times too. So yeah, I've watched it a lot.
Okay, I haven't quite watched it that much, but I'll take you back to like 2008 here, in the early days of YouTube. Back when Andrew was, a little younger now, back in the day. So Andrew found this movie on YouTube back on the days when YouTube basically had tons of movies, and it didn't matter what movie it was. They had full movies on YouTube that people uploaded. And funny story short, this was one of the movies I actually found the whole full movie, and I was like, oh, whatever. It's it's Christmas time. Let me watch this movie. Not knowing that this movie was a very kind of a mess of a film of really cool effects and then really, what was that? But I'll let anybody go who wants to have an actual criticism
all right,
for my story time.
Let's run it over a little bit. I want to kind of touch a little bit before we delve too deep on what we liked and didn't like. This is the plot of this is you got your serial killer who happens to be named Jack Frost going to his execution on an icy, stormy night, and he's passing through, I believe it's Snowmanton or something like that. It's this little tiny town where he got arrested by this, small town sheriff. And so he's passing through. An accident happens with a chemical truck. And Jack Frost, the serial killer, also gets mutated genetically through this stuff into his basically his molecules bind with the snow that he falls into. And he becomes the snowman, or basically snow, and he can form into a snowman. It's a dark comedy. It's hilarious. I mean, it's very tongue in cheek. This is not trying to be a serious movie by any stretch of the imagination, and I would hope not. Geez, why would you try to make a snowman movie about a killer snowman serious? But great performances all around, and as basically this town getting terrorized by a killer snowman out for revenge on the sheriff and his family that arrested him. And one thing I want to note on my criticism here, of all the things I really like this movie, obviously I've seen it as many times as I have. I like Christmas horror movies in general because there's that time of the year when everybody's it's every sentimental thing. And I like to take one day out of that month to, watch some of the more askew Christmas movies. This was one of the first ones that came up on my radar, Early ones like Gremlins and Die Hard, they had become two normal Christmas movies for me. So Jack Frost comes along, and I thought it was hilarious. Acting debut of Shannon Elizabeth, a great Texas actress that went on to greater fame with American Pie and was in Scary Movie, and this was her first acting film credit. And
I was actually surprised about that when I saw her. One, I was surprised to see her, and two, I was surprised to hear that this was her first acting credit.
Yes, indeed, and she has probably what I think is the most memorable shower scene since Psycho. In this movie,
let's call that the rape scene.
Yeah, well,
I like to call it the rape scene because
the rape scene. That's what it is. Let's be truthful to everybody. Spoiler alert: rape scene.
Well, it's in the well, it still happens in the shower. So I call it shower
Oh,
scene.
so that makes it better. Oh, I
Well,
get it. I get it.
no, it doesn't make the rape better. And the snake, the snowman, is the snowman shower scene. Snowman shower sex scene. How's that? 3 S's. Okay, it's rape. It's rape with a carrot
No,
nose. That's
no,
what it is.
No, no, absolutely not. No, no.
Oh no, I agree.
It
No,
also ascribes back to, or made me think a little bit of
Not
Nightmare on
only
Elm
is
Street
it
and
a
how
rape
that scene
scene,
could have gone.
it is just. I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you because the fact that you don't even call it a rape scene, but the fact that he's
No, it's definitely a rape.
The Jack Frost snowman character slowly rises as
Oh
if
no.
soft and then gets hard into Shannon Elizabeth while she screams.
You
I'm
know,
curious
I
what-
love teasing a scene, and this is my favorite thing about you. Tex. I'll tease like kind of what happens in the scene, and then you go into graphic detail. It was like I knew that was coming in this deal.
It's practically. I mean,
it's not practically. It's literally a rape scene where she's like obviously not enjoying it. There's no like
Shannon
sugarcoating
is
this.
not happy with how Jack Frost goes slowly into growing into her.
Well, it's not really slowly. It happens real fast.
I don't know.
Like it's
It
like
started
frozen, and then the rock music starts playing.
I'm
And,
getting flashbacks. No,
that is that. I guess it. Yeah. Okay. It is a snowman rape scene. I may not call it rape as
That's all I
often
wanted
because
to
I
say.
don't find rape funny, but I find that scene fucking hilarious. It's one of the funniest things ever to me. Is mainly because the first time I'm watching it, my buddy and I are like, and he makes the first observation, which is, "Where's his nose?" And you notice the
where
carrot
is
nose
it?
is
No.
missing strangely.
Where is it? Frosty or Andrew? Whatever. Do you
So
want to tell
the
us
nose
where
is
that
missing.
where his nose was?
well, it's down below. You know, under the ice,
In
not
Shannon
on the
Elizabeth,
face.
right? It's
You know, I really,
inside
I'd
Shannon
love to.
Elizabeth while
I'd
she
love to
protests.
I'd love to sit down with Shannon Elizabeth and be like, "How do you feel about this movie in this particular scene now?"
All right, real
It's
quick.
just come along with.
I want to take this moment to throw in some of the technical review. I was actually surprised with some of the special effects. Some of the special effects are actually kind of neat. The directing and editing was better than I thought it would be when I started watching this movie.
I agree.
I'll also say when I started watching this movie, I was surprised that it kept going and going and going. I thought this movie was going to be a little bit shorter than it was. I don't know actually how long it is, but
An hour and
after
a
a
half.
while, I was like, is this movie ever going to end? It's an hour and 29 minutes, but it felt like 2 hours and 30 minutes. I just want to say that because I really was towards the end like, wow, how much longer is this movie going to go on? But
So you're
on
saying
the
you
flip
felt the
side-
length then?
On the flip side, I do give Michael Cooney, the director, credit on some good shots. He liked to focus on his actors, and some of the special effects were actually cool, like literally and metaphorically. And overall, in general, and you guys, I'm just throwing this all out there right now, but overall, in general, this movie ended up being better. I thought this movie was going to be such crap, but it wasn't. They actually put some effort into it, including the actors. Scott McDonald, the Jack Frost, who when he has his beard on and you look at him in IMDb, he has a little resemblance towards Dano, and the crazed eye look in him. I'm like, oh wow, that's kind of like Dano. Um, and Christopher Alport, who was the sheriff, that was a difficult role for any actor in this low budget horror movie, and he did a good job of pulling his weight. I just got to say, like every time he was on screen, I was really impressed that he had some acting chops. Just he nailed the scenes, and he was that sheriff who you believed was a sheriff. So I'll give him his credit. And Shannon Elizabeth, of course, that was a treat to see her. And I think I'm done with my technical. The music, I didn't really. I don't have anything to say with the music either way. But
Really,
right.
I thought the music was cheesy. I didn't really enjoy that part. Otherwise, I agree with like 90% what you said. I will say there's a lot of like neat little special effects. Like in the first 8 minutes, there's this like really good effect where like he falls into the acid and it looks pretty cool. But then there was some like special effects that just didn't age well, like the molecule one. I didn't particularly find that very good. But I guess
but it's hilarious
context,
though. It's so hilarious though. It looks snowflakes.
Maybe it is supposed to be cheesy. Maybe I'm being a little too critical about it, is what I'm thinking.
No. I don't think you're being too critical, because that actually reminds me. Some of the snow effects, especially during the infamous rape scene, you could tell that it's absolutely not snow and more of some fake powder.
Yeah, I wanted to discuss that too.
Yeah.
That's
probably for the best. You realize how cold she would be?
She's being raped, and you're worried about how cold she'd be?
Well, she's not really being raped, and it's also I'm talking about the actress here. Well, okay, let me get serious for a second here, because the snow effects, at first it didn't bother me, and then I started looking at it more, and I was like, that's not what snow looks like. It looks kind of weird, but when they were interacting with it, it kind of did look like snow, because like they were pushing their fingers in it and stuff, and but as far as like looking at it, like it looked like styrofoam or something similar to it.
I'll give credit to some of the sound effects of like what you just said, Andrew, when they were pushing against the snow, or when someone bumped into the snowman. It did sound like snow. It did sound like someone, like I kept hearing these noises, and I'm like, wow, they're trying to emulate the sound of what happens when you touch snow.
Right.
And so for that, I'll give them credit, because it actually did sound like they were touching snow.
And then I will also give them credit for like trying to make it sound like it's cold outside, because like they would really make the wind sound kind of realistic, like. So like in the first scene where they're driving and it's like dark at night, like that was kind of a cool little way to present that scene, in my opinion.
Well, y'all really analyzed that snow over there.
I want to hear Dano's reason for watching this movie every year for almost 20 years.
I'll break this down to you.
Go.
One. All right, let me get my popcorn. Hold on.
Talking about the effects also. Yeah, they're campy and they're cheesy and they're meant to be. The snow.
They're good though.
Yeah, they're good. They're good for the movie it is, which is a hilarious, cheesy, intended to be B movie about a psycho killer snowman.
Some of the effects are pretty.
Oh yeah, I was going to get into one particular effect that I wanted to talk about. That the kills in this movie, there aren't a whole lot of them, but the ones that they have are pretty great. Early on with the snow sled and I didn't do it, but probably the most brutal kill in this movie. To me, and once again, guys, this one, okay. Well, of course, the Shannon Elizabeth one's pretty bad, but I think the nice little old lady that just thinks her husband,
little old lady,
thought her husband had turned on the Christmas tree. That scene is so brutal.
That poor old lady.
but I laugh harder and harder every year when I see that scene because I know first off, it looks incredibly painful. Jack Frost comes in and starts trying to strangle her with lights and smashing her head into glass ornaments, which the effect of him slamming her face into the glass ornaments reminded me of Monty Python slamming the cat into the side of the wall. It's obviously not a real person that's going in there, but coming out, she's got all the glass in her face. That scene is hilarious, but also it's just brutal, man. She gets the worst of it, I think.
She does. She really, really does. And there's like no reason for it. It's sad.
And if you think about it, also, the whole thing, everybody that gets killed is pretty much that family. The kid, the jerk kid that's messing with the sheriff's son, gets his head cut off by the sled. His parents are that, you know, the guy with the shotgun, and then of course that nice old lady that just wants to have a good Christmas, and the daughter is Shannon Elizabeth. So that whole family gets killed in this movie. If you think about it, you could almost think of it as a Billy Madison O'Doyle rules moment, where the freaking jerk kid that messed with the snowman in the first place sets off a chain of events that involves the death of his whole family. So
that's one way to word it. Yeah,
but yeah, I love the kind of crazy effect, just the look of Jack Frost, the snowman himself. The whole idea of a hair dryer being used to kind of push him back against the wall, but then the extension cord's not long enough, and so of course that's a problem. The look, Mom, I'm a Picasso sequence.
Can I add to your hairdryer comment?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. When they were destroying Jack Frost with the hairdryers, and when the priest came out, when they did the priest shot and he did the sign of the cross with his curling iron, I honestly, that was the best.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe that they actually decided, you know what, we want this priest to do the sign of the cross with the curling iron, or with the curling flattener, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
that seems very funny though.
Yeah, that's great. And anyway, I have to say that just all the little bits of comedy throughout this thing.
Oh, yeah, this movie has a lot of little bits of comedy. My favorite has to be when they're going to the old man who gets murdered that they don't show off screen, you know. And then the chair is rocking back and forth, and you think it's the wind, and then he's like, the sergeant's like, "Stop putting your foot on that thing." I kind of laugh for a little bit.
Yeah. So really hilarious. Okay, so and answer your question, Tex. Why do I keep coming back to this one myself every year?
Yeah.
Mainly because I like to watch all of the Christmas horror movies, but this one in particular I consider one of the more lighthearted of the bunch, and it's in a way because it's just so over the top and hilarious. It and Santa's Sleigh with Bill Goldberg they're like the cap off of any kind of time I'm watching a marathon of Christmas horror movies. I usually save them for last because, you know, you get into stuff like Black Christmas, which is just a serious, brutal slasher, and we'll be probably talking about that soon.
That's actually my pick.
Yeah, some of those others are so realistic or just deadly scary. Jack Frost, not scary to me at all. I'm not scared of a crazy psycho snowman, especially in Texas. But I like it. Just it makes me laugh. The acting, the performances. I love that it's Shannon Elizabeth's first role. There's a great scene with her and her would-be boyfriend before Jack Frost shows up, which I think is probably one of the more realistic scenes. Is where they're getting ready to have good times together. But they're also in winter weather, and so the layers start coming off, and it's like endless layers of clothes. But
I have a question for everybody here.
sure.
When
Yes.
Shannon Elizabeth's boyfriend bites the dust, it's with icicles, right?
Oh yes.
And Jack Frost does this whole icicle thing, and the director slash editor slash producer does this last second scene of after they kill Shannon Elizabeth's boyfriend. They do this weird thing after Jack Frost impales his boyfriend with Shannon Elizabeth's boyfriend with an icicle. And there's this few seconds of like weird pumping of the icicle through the brain, through the door that you see. Someone explain that to me. Go. You remember what I'm talking about?
I kind of remember it. I don't know that I. So the
You should
icicle
remember
still
this. You've seen this damn movie.
Yeah, but I obviously this is some. I don't know what I think I'm trying to. I know I'm trying to figure out what it is you want me to explain to you about that.
Why? What is the scene when after the Shannon Elizabeth's boyfriend is killed, that the director focuses on the door where the icicle came out through Shannon Elizabeth's boyfriend's head.
Uh-huh.
And it's like just this kind of, it's like the icicle is still going through his head in that hole that came through the door.
Okay.
What's that?
Okay. Well, what's happening is the icicle is still on its way through, and the warmth of the inside of the body is making the ice melt, so that it's starting to push through to the other side.
Oh, really?
Well, that would be my only theory on it. I didn't ever overthink that particular sequence, but that makes sense to me now. I think that's I never really thought about that. I guess I really worried about that little part too much, but that makes sense to me now. Now that you say that, I'm remembering it, and I think that that's probably what's going on there. Is that the ice is starting to go through. I don't think that the ice is still going, so to speak, like from the projectileness of.
Are you sure?
Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe it's trying to get back to its master. Maybe it's trying to rejoin with Jack. Does that make sense? So. Like, because it's part of him, and I guess all the water. If you'll notice in the other parts of the movie, when they're part of the water somewhere, it tries to find him again. Like it all comes back into him. So maybe since that's his ice weapons, they've got to melt, and they're trying to get through and get back to Jack so that he can load him up and shoot him out of his finger guns later. I don't know. That's what I would think.
Good explanation, Dano. I appreciate it.
Is there anything else about the movie that you do realize this had a sequel, right?
Yeah.
No.
It's on Amazon Prime too.
But, yeah, the sequel's not good.
Really?
The sequel's not that good.
Yeah, it is. Not that good. It's like worse. It's not good effects. It's terrible directing.
But it still has some of the recurring people come back for it, like the sheriff. And
I think only one actor came back.
It's
the sheriff.
It's the sheriff. Anyway, this movie to me, great fun. I was glad to watch it again. I'll probably watch it again later this month. It makes me laugh. It's the perfect cure for Christmas blues, if you ask me. And
it also has carrots.
Are you giving your horns up?
Well, I don't know. If y'all are ready, because I think
I'm ready.
I'm ready for Dano to go first. Come on, go first, Dano.
Okay, well, I'm going to give this a solid 3 up for being one of the great Christmas horror movies I've seen, and one that has vast rewatchability and is a gem out of the video store graveyard one truly worth digging up and throwing in for all your Yuletide fear.
Andrew?
You want to go Tex first,
No,
and then
you.
we'll see. Oh, you're gonna make me go first, huh?
Go.
Oh boy, how do I say this? 3 horns up. This movie every time, well, yeah. You know what? 2.5. We'll go technical. 2.5. So while I did not love this movie like Dano, it is.
We have an 8-horn system. Either 4 horns down or 4 horns up, and anything in between. That's a lot of leeway. So, what in the Christmas door do you give this?
So 4 horns up, 4 horns down. That's it. I don't have a choice.
No. In between. That gives us 8 ratings.
Okay.
Also, have you ever tried putting up half a finger?
So
Exactly.
I'm gonna give. Okay, so 2 halves of a horn. How does that sound? Is that all right?
Which equals 2 halves of a horn equals 1 horn.
Dang it. Okay, up a little bit then. Make them go up a little bit more, so it's 2 then technically. Okay, all right. I think we figured it out then. So 2.5.
What? What are you doing? 2.5 horns.
All right, so he really wants to do that 2.5. I'm going to, you know what?
What?
I think I'm going to make him keep his original answer, which is 3.
Wow. Okay, 3 horns up. Okay.
Yep.
All right,
Because
can I
it's the
explain
only
why
thing he's trying to jack around with halves here.
All right, fine. I won't make it a half. We'll make it 3 horns. Is that all right? Can I say?
I just
can I
want to make
continue my
sure
review?
you do whatever you want.
All right, just tell us what you thought.
Okay. All right. Before I say any kind of rating, okay? God damn it. Can I finish? All right. Are we done? Okay,
No.
good. All right. God damn it, motherfucker. Andrew is putting his foot down and he's giving it 3 horns. It is a fun, enjoyable film. It is
cool.
fun to watch. It is a nice pleasure. Yeah, some of the effects aren't great. You gotta keep in mind this was made in the 90s, so of course not all the effects are gonna be great, but it's a cheesy little film that you can enjoy. If you don't like cheesy films, skip it, but it's fun. It's fun to watch. Tex?
All right, so I give it 0. No horns up. No horns down.
All this arguing.
All this, yeah, no horns up, because I don't really think it deserves horns up. No horns down, because I don't believe it deserves a bunch of horns down. So I'll give it a 0 in between. And it's lucky that it gets that, because on a technical level, sometimes it does have some of the good special effects. Sometimes it does have some good directing. And every once in a great while, it has some good acting. So yeah, I give this a 0. No horns up, no horns down. There. Merry Christmas. And since Andrew already cussed, Merry fucking Christmas.
Well, all right. Well, geez, guys.
I had to let it out, okay?
Well, I'm telling you.
Hopefully, Steve won't give us fucking shit for saying fuck.
Well, this movie will make you say it. Anyway, 0. Okay, so a 0, a 3, and a 3. So, I'd say that's a pretty good sign for all you. Here's the deal: if you're looking for a Christmas movie for your family and friends, this isn't that.
No,
This
For
is
your
not,
family and friends.
This is not that movie. If you're looking for something, because maybe you're feeling a little cynical, or maybe you got the holiday blues. You've been doing your shopping either online or at the store, and you're just so sick of it, and you're thinking about people and them trampling each other for TV sets and all that crap, then maybe dig this out of the graveyard. Jack Frost, you will laugh. You will laugh. I think so. And I think you'll have a lot of fun with the Jack Frost, the Revenge of the Killer Snowman. I love it. I'm glad we all got to watch it. And good choice. So, what else, guys? Any news? Any nerd news out there that we don't know about yet?
Star Wars is coming out soon.
Yay!
That's true. And it's going to be big. And of course, Christmas time is Star Wars time, and merchandising opportunities abound right now. So yeah, I'm excited about the new Star Wars, and I have to say, I think our all mutual love of that. Hell, man, when we were in Austin last, we filmed at the Star Wars house. We're Star Wars all the way, so I'm excited about that. And is it weird to associate Christmas with Star Wars? I don't think so.
No, it's very natural. Very, very natural. Star Wars, Christmas is not about Jesus anymore. It's about Star Wars. No more Jesus birthday. No more Santa Claus.
All right.
It's all about Palpatine.
Texas having a John Lennon moment here.
No, it's all about Palpatine and Skywalker and Vader and Leia. Yep. No more Jesus. No more Santa.
Okay. Well,
all right. Can I bring up something that's not Christmas related to get your guys' opinion on something?
What?
No. Yes, please. Just
Okay.
Bring it up, buddy. What do you got?
All right. So, do you guys know James Dean at all? Out of curiosity.
Yeah, James Dean.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Classic
I was born
actor.
after he was dead, so.
Yeah, Rebel Without a Cause, Giant, one of the great Texas movies. I've got an action figure of him in my trunk.
Well, apparently a director is making a movie with his face CGI'd on an actual actor. So I don't know how you guys would feel about something like that. And it relates to Star Wars because Star Wars did the same thing. Aha,
Well,
segue.
I do know it's stirring some people up and that it's causing some controversy. The one thing, and I do think that there's a slope there when you get into full performances from people and things like that. I thought that the Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One was fantastic, and I couldn't believe how good it was. Yeah. There is something, as long as it remains respectful to the memory of the actor, it's okay. In the James Dean particular one, from what I understand, he's a background character. It's not a movie about him per se, but I'm okay with it. I think they've already used people are acting like this is a brand new thing. And yet, if you'll look, they've had classic celebrities and used the images of those celebrities in freaking Coca-Cola ads for, decades, and advertising other stuff, especially at Christmas. So, yeah, I would much rather see somebody do something in the film world where they're trying to create art and use the image respectfully than someone trying to use James Dean to sell frickin' Coca-Cola. That's how I feel about it.
Okay, that's fair enough. I agree with that.
So, I agree with that.
That's a pretty cool, that's a cool little topic you brought up there, though. It's a really big thing right now. Ronnie James Dio, the Dio Disciples, a band that is a tribute band to Ronnie James Dio's memory. Ronnie James Dio, of course, Black Sabbath, Rainbow, and of course Dio. They have a hologram of him that performs one song during their show. It's really stirred up the community of the metal community that people don't know what to think of it. Some people support it. Other people are like, that's disrespectful of his memory. Well, Wendy Dio, the widow of Ronnie James Dio, certainly seems to be in big support of it. And a lot of things, about that, I think, I think it's. I understand where fans are torn, but I'm in complete support of that.
I want to throw in. I want to throw in because what you just said, Dano, about how the metal community is torn. I just want to throw in that from my experience in life, the metal community, it can be so snobby sometimes to the point where it transcends your love of metal to being everything that you're against with conformity and the opposite of anarchy, right? All these people who start criticizing different types of metal and they claim to like love metal. So I just want to say that when you say the metal community is torn, I don't really give a rat's ass because
Wow, dude.
they don't really come into anything as a group anymore anyway. So there
I
you go.
agree because
What the hell are you talking about?
You
I think
know,
I think
that's
Texas
what
is
happens
more.
when you drink before a podcast.
Well, I see where Texas is coming from because back in the '90s, everybody was torn in the metal community about like new metal and all that, and
Like Tool.
people
Like I
like
like
well,
Tool. I've seen
Tool is
Tool 3 times in concert. But whenever I bring that up with like these death metal people, they
oh
look
yeah,
down on Tool. They're like,
I
that's
like
not,
Tool.
you
well,
know. And then
Tex,
you got
you know
people
we
like Dano who are like, AC/DC is not metal.
AC/DC is not fucking metal, and neither is
well
Tool.
okay
But
here's the way I see it.
I like.
AC/DC is a rock band, not a metal group. That's
I
how
don't
I
want to
see
even
I
mention them
said
on this
that on
show.
purpose because of Dano.
Well, okay, so yeah, Texas feelings about the metal community withstanding, and my own, of course, being a prominent member of said community. I'm more metal than all of you. Um, that
Wow. Okay. Damn.
it's Brian Posehn has a song called "I'm More Metal Than You." It's one of my favorite things Brian's ever done. But uh, uh, yeah, I see. I see where you're going with that.
You see
But
what
yeah, the
I'm
what
saying? There's some people who just transcend the criticism and just end up being the snobs that they claim to be nonconformist about. Just it's all, it's like I've seen so many and come across so many metal people who are like, oh yeah, fuck conformity, and this and that, and oh, metal this and metal that. And then when it comes to like the generalization of what metal is, they're so snobby sometimes against bands who actually may sound like metal to some people, but then they're like, "Oh, that's not metal. That's pussy shit."
well,
Right.
I'm
That's
not that guy.
really gonna
Well,
I
right.
I'm not that guy. I like Tool. I like a lot of bands, and there's a lots of different genres of metal. So
Well, because if
you
I can
know,
interject, there's like many different types of metal. Because some people would say like bands like Machine Head aren't metal, but like to somebody else, somebody might like that as metal as well. But then there's other bands like Metallica that people would say aren't metal, like obviously now, but they said, oh well, they were better back then. There's we could go all day on this
yeah, I don't
conversation,
know how we
honestly.
got off on a tangent. I was just talking about holograms.
Well, if I can go back to the
that was my
holograms to get
fault.
us back on track, if
That
I
was
can
my
talk
fault.
about that real quick, I want to talk about the holograms
It's okay,
real
Ted.
quick because you bring up Dio as a hologram. That's not what I remember the holograms with musicians about. I remember the big craze in the early 2000s was the Tupac Shakur hologram, which was raising some eyebrows, and that was the start of it. And then there was, the Easy E, and then it's crazy to me that you mentioned that there's a Ron, Dio hologram, Dano. I didn't even know that, so now I
Yeah.
gotta look at it. I'll have
Oh
to know.
yeah. It's a performs with the band. Some of the shows. Only a couple of songs. Not like the whole show is done. And yeah, I remember the Tupac hologram and the Eazy hologram. And I actually think that the hologram performance technology, we owe a lot of the credit to that to Japan for their
We do.
Vocaloids. Hatsune Miku, uh, a 20-foot tall hologram anime girl singing awesome pop songs. I mean, how can you go wrong? That's
people
what
think
that's what Christmas is all about, right there.
it's funny that you even mentioned that, because there was a debate that people were thinking that it was a real person, behind the hologram that was singing, but it was really just computer generated singing. It wasn't even a real
Computer
person.
program,
That's the cool thing.
Vocaloids are pretty wild. Anyway,
But to wrap up that topic, I personally think it is, if it's in a tasteful sense, then go for it. If it's in a disrespectful taste, don't go for it. That's how I stand on it.
all right.
Right on.
Well, okay, I guess let's kind of we kind of ran a little over on that. Let's go ahead and wrap this bad boy up.
Wow.
Once
Bad
again,
bad boys.
Boys,
What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they fucking come for you, bad boys, bad boys?
Wow. Okay.
So,
Are you sure you haven't seen that movie, Tex? You sound like you have.
Actually, have.
Really?
all right.
I thought...
Well. So we're going to be doing movie reviews throughout the month of December. A lot of them Christmas themed. Instead of having one kind of all at once special thingy, all month long is a Halloween. Halloween. It's a Halloween Christmas. It's Halloween in heaven, Christmas in hell.
It's a Halloween Christmas.
Yeah, it's a Halloween Christmas all month long, and we'll be telling you some of those more askew and maybe who knows what Christmas movies that you can watch when you're tired of all the other cheer and stuff. So,
Well said.
all right, guys. Well, I guess if y'all guys got anything else,
thank you to everyone as always for following us and listening to us, and we'll see you again in our next episodes. And Merry Christmas.
All
That's
right.
all I got.
All right, and I will close this out with a if you like what we do, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel for future notifications on the videos, and give us a like so that you know that we like it, so that we get higher on the search bar on this topic. Dano, any final thoughts?
I just want to say happy Yuletide to everyone, and I hope you have a great holiday season. And we look forward to hearing from you. If you like some of the stuff, feel free to comment in the YouTube channel or on Facebook, and let us
Twitter,
know. Yeah, let us know what you think, and also what kind of Christmas crap you're watching or tired of. So we'd love to hear from you. Anyway, as always, it's me, Dano.
I'm Andrew.
And Tex.
And we'll see you next time.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Time to rewind and open your mind. No late fees to annoy you this time. Video store might be no more, but we're digging up movies worth watching them for. Time to power up the VCR. Headed to the graveyard of films near and far. Watching the strangeness we find on the way. Three crazy friendos with plenty to say. Hey, come on our journey if you're so inclined. Leave sanity, hope, and good taste behind. Life isn't easy, but whatever is. Video store graveyard is open for biz. Time to rewind and open your mind. No late fees to annoy you this time. Video store might be no more, but we're digging up movies worth watching them for. Time to rewind and open your mind. No late fees to annoy you this time. Video store might be no more, but we're digging up movies worth watching them for. Welcome to videos. Edit.
Cut.